Hello everyone, welcome to kind of a silly one-off video here. I guess I'm going to be like rating or reviewing some magic cards generated by an artificial intelligence, which is a thing that I guess was popular on YouTube a month ago and I only found out about it a couple days ago. There's this thing, you can go to urzs.ai and it'll make up magic cards for you. You can give it a name or more details if you want, like what mana cost you think it should have and what type it should have or whatever. Or you can just have it like make up all that stuff for you. And sometimes it comes up with like pretty interesting cards. Most of the time I just laugh. I find it pretty funny when like AI says something that almost makes sense but is off in very obvious ways. It's like, oh yeah, I see what you're trying to go for, but like that sentence doesn't make any damn sense, for example. So I generated, 7 cards ahead of time? I haven't looked at them, but they take a little while to generate and render, and it looks kind of ugly on my computer, so I pre-rendered them, but I have not, like, hand-picked these. These are not the funniest ones. I have no idea what they're going to be. Maybe some of them will suck. We'll see. So I'll look at them, and we'll just kind of laugh at them, and I'll say whether the card is any good or what. So here we go. Card number 1 is Shock of Nerono. A lot of these cards are blue, by the way. Not the cards in the set, but just in general what it generates. Apparently, its training data contained a lot of blue cards. This is a 2-mana blue instant. It's a Shock of Nerono. Okay. Counter a target creature. Okay, not legal, but you could counter a creature's spell. Assume that's what it means. If you control a zombie, you may have it deal damage equal to the number of zombies on the battlefield. Also, not really a legal instruction. It should say damage to any target or something like that. But okay, we can assume it means to any target. So if you read the text as written, it has no effect and is rated a 0 out of 10. Neither of these sentences do anything. But if you generously interpret them as counter a creature spell and then have a zombie deal damage to any target equal to the number of zombies on the battlefield, that's pretty busted at 2 mana, right? I think? I don't know. I mean, it's not that different from Essence Capture. It's good, I guess. Look, okay. It would be bad in Limited because you're not going to have that many zombies. And a 2-mana counter spell is great. A 2-mana counter target creature spell? That's just okay. Right? Essence Capture is a double blue spell that does that and puts a 1/1 counter on one of your creatures. Essence Scatter costs exactly this and says counter target creature spell, and it doesn't have this zombie shit, so it's a better Essence Scatter, I guess. Alright. Essence Scatter is not good in Limited. I don't think it's good in Constructed, but it's probably like playable. Give this a 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. And in Constructed, maybe you could put it in some zombie control deck? I don't know, still bad probably. The slowest way to fall to certain death is to stop moving. Yeah, sure. If you were over a gap, that would, yeah, if you stopped moving, you would fall. That's true. It's a little bit philosophical. I like it. Decent flavor. Does this belong in blue? Yeah, I guess so. I might have made it cost a blue and a black since it talks about zombies. And that makes it not strictly better than Essence Scatter. All right, next card. Shadow Striker, a 3-mana black human archer. It's a 2/2. I feel like this thing loves 2/2s, by the way. When Shadow Striker enters the battlefield, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Well, that's not bad. 2/2 is bad for a 3-mana spell, but this removes an enemy's 1/1 or 2/1 or something like that, or even it can do the finishing blow to something that already took damage. It's not going to come up too often. It's probably bad, but it's not awful. You could play this. Give it like a 3 or 4 for Limited, probably. And it's even an archer, which is so thematic with the like this effect is like, oh, pew pew pew, your creature's dead, right? I don't know if I would say this is exact. The art is also auto-generated, by the way, by some kind of one of those AIs that invents stuff, and it tries to like tie together the text and the effects and the art somehow. I don't know the details. I mean, you could kind of imagine one of these things might be a crossbow. It looks like it's got just a really long sword or something. I don't know. Kind of hard to follow. Not as ferocious as it looks. Well, it doesn't seem super related to Shadow Striker, which doesn't look ferocious so much as cumbersome. All right, next card. Liquid Splicer. Okay. 3 mana blue 1/1. Merfolk Wizard. That makes sense for a Liquid Splicer, I guess. Tap to put... You may. You don't have to. You can just tap it to do nothing if you want. It's not even nothing, right? If there was something that, like, suffered from being targeted or benefited from being targeted, but, like, you didn't want to put the 1/1 counter, you could target the thing and say, no, I choose not to put the counter on, I guess. So that's very, very niche usage, I guess. But it is allowed. So tap to put a 1/1 counter on target creature. I mean, obviously 3 mana 1/1 is awful. The effect is okay. You know, repeatable 1/1 counters can build an advantage eventually, but I think this is just going to put you too far behind tempo most of the time. Take care not to spill. Pretty good flavor text for whatever this is. I don't think I would want to spill it. I'll rate this, I don't know, a 2 in limited probably. Next card. Comrade Oldway. A 2 mana blue 1/1 that's a human pirate. Yeah, it kind of looks like a pirate. When Comrade Oldway enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a pirate card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. My greatest weakness is my patience. Okay. This is probably not good, right? Like, we already have spells that have this kind of effect. A creature that lets you search your library for creatures of the same type. There was the Throng thing, Wretched Throng in Crimson Vow, I think. It's a 2 mana 2/1. It doesn't happen when it enters the battlefield. It happens when it dies, but it's still similar. And there's something in New Capenna, I think, that might be like a 3 mana 3/2 that says when this enters the battlefield, you can search for as many as you want from your battlefield. So I think this is just too weak as a 1/1. Like, why do you even want to draw another one of these? I don't know. Maybe you put it in a blue sacrifice deck. Who knows? Call this a... It's not like the worst card I've ever seen. There probably is some deck that could use it, but I don't think it's any better than the 2. I like the art. It's not clear. This looks like a wall or a dock or something behind it. Not bad. Good theming with the types. Endless Subdual. Oh, that sounds threatening. 4 mana black zombie horror. 3/3 Menace enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each creature you control. Now that is a beast in limited. That is good. I mean, 4 mana 3/3 is okay stat lines for vanilla. Would this include itself? Does it have a counter for itself? I'm sure this is covered by the rules, but I don't know that part by heart. It doesn't say each other creature, and it enters the battlefield. This modifies how it enters the battlefield. I think generally creatures that modify how something enters the battlefield don't apply to themselves unless they say so. So I think this would be a 3/3, not a 4/4. But like, if you have a few creatures out, this is insane. I remember I saw earlier today the creature that inspired me to, like, you know, actually do this little video was another 4 mana black 3/3. And its text was, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped. Like, I don't think that effect has ever been printed. I thought it hadn't. I went and looked for when it dies, you know, return to the battlefield on the Scryfall. There's one card that's like a 6 mana 5/2 or something like that, or 7/2. And it returns tapped at the beginning of the next end step. So that one, I don't expect that was very good. The one that comes, it's just a 4 mana card that comes back all the time, and it's a 3/3. Anyway, this seems great in limited. Call it a 7, 6. Like, it's above average for sure. It might even be, yeah, we'll say 7. So I think this can be really devastating as long as you're not so far behind that they can ignore it. Those hands are like cold fingers. Well, yeah, hands often have fingers on them. Yeah, endless even makes sense for this kind of. No, that was a different creature I was talking about. Anyway, this and the fact that it has menace means it at least like 2-for-1s them. Cool. Next card. High Society, a 3-mana black human rogue, another menace black creature. As long as you control another creature, other creatures you control get +1/+0. Sure, I mean, you could strip out the condition and you could just say other creatures you control get +1/+0, and if there are 0 of them, then nothing happens. But sure, it's a 3-mana 2/2 menace that like buffs the rest of your stuff. Fine, a 4 maybe. Bad stats, but the effect could be big. Not really worth removing for your opponent most of the time, so it's just going to stick around and be a mild nuisance, probably. The art? I don't know, it's okay. Kind of unclear what the society is doing, but clearly overlooking a city of some kind. Sitting on a fancy chair on a rooftop, maybe? Mardu smugglers and robbers take full credit for the spoil and merchandise they stole. Each guild pays an additional fee for having menace destroyed. Don't really understand that, but sure, I can imagine Mardu smugglers. That probably exists in Magic lore. Okay, last card, and this is one where I just wanted to demonstrate that you can actually like make up a card name. So this one I told it Scrumptious Banquet, and we'll see what it has to say about that. It did generate stuff that looks like food. Look at that, there's donuts and a little bowl of strawberries or jello or something. There's a lot of people here. It looks like a banquet. There's a table. I'm impressed. Scrumptious Banquet, 4-mana red instant. Scrumptious Banquet deals 3 damage to target creature, scry 1. Seems pretty bad for 4 mana, right? Like, at 3 mana, this would be fine, I think? Because for 2 mana, like, there's spells like a Braid that are, 1 and red, deal 3 damage to a creature. For 1 extra mana, you get a scry. That seems fine. There are, yeah, that's okay. After reading a line of sight, that line of sight is gone. Sure, not sure what that has to do with anything. I don't know. There are cards where most of what the AI said actually followed the rules today, which I was pretty impressed by, and the theming was not bad either. That first card about countering creatures and zombies doing damage to nothing was a little rough. But some of the ones that make me laugh the most. Oh, I actually got to go find my favorite card and show this off. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I found the card. Every time I look at this card, I can't help but laugh. I was crying laughing for a couple minutes looking at this. It doesn't like to generate planeswalkers very often. I had to ask it specifically for a planeswalker. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I said the planeswalker has to cost just a single red mana? Maybe call it Meek so it knows it's supposed to be like a tiny goblin kind of. What would a tiny goblin planeswalker look like? I wondered. So I asked for Gronk Meek Commander, planeswalker of Gronk type that costs a single red. And it doesn't know about loyalty counters, but it does generate text for them that makes sense. +1, you gain a life. Seems weak, doesn't seem red, but okay. -2, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste. Seems about right for a planeswalker that costs 1. Its -2 shouldn't be that strong, but making a goblin makes sense. The one that I love is the -6. You get an emblem with "You are to blame," and "Your cause is hopeless," and "Your source of glory is gone," and "You must die." Oh, I still can't help myself. It doesn't have any rules effect at all. The -6 is just like, fuck you, I hate you. Like, so this is the kind of stuff I love that AI can do for us when it's like, okay, yeah, I get where you're going. You're playing Magic, and then it's just like, oh, by the way, I really wish you would go away, and everything about you is bad. Anyway, let's burn the thing. Decent flavor text. The art is a little minimal, but there looks like a face here and a helmet or something. maybe feet. Anyways, that's Urza's AI. Fun to play with if you want to. Just thought I'd show it off. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.